Hello, beautiful friends and book lovers. I hope that you are all doing well. If you are new to my channel, my name is Heather, and here at Heather's Book Review, I love to read and review thrillers of all kinds, like psychological thrillers, domestic thrillers. I love to read and review mysteries, and the occasional super hyped up fiction novel. You can connect with me on Instagram and Goodreads. Both of them are the same handle as my YouTube, just Heather's Book Review. And today, I am so excited to be filming this review because I'm going to be reviewing The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I hope you guys can see that here. I'll bring it down. Bring it down for you so you can look at this super cool cover. Actually, I wonder if that's how you say his name. Is it Michaelides or Michaelides? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. But this is was one of my most anticipated reads of 2021. I loved The Silent Patient. I do recommend reading, if you have not read The Silent Patient by this author, you should definitely read that before reading this book. This is not a sequel to The Silent Patient, but I just would recommend reading it before reading this one. And if you've read this one, you catch my drift, but I would definitely recommend reading The Silent Patient first. Also, The Silent Patient was my favorite thriller of 2019. It's amazing. And this book is amazing as well. I chose this as my book of the month pick. If you are not a member of Book of the Month, it is like a $15 monthly subscription, and you choose a book and then you can choose an add-on for like $10. So you literally could get these hardcover books for $15 and other ones for $10. Not sponsored by them, but I do have a referral link in the description below. And if it sounds like something that you're interested in, I would love if you could go through my referral link, because then I get a free book, which is pretty sweet. But I do really like the subscriptions. Some months, the books that they have are just meh. But there are other months where I'm like, wow, I want all these add-ons. This book of the month choice is great. So I recommend it. I like it, but yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and read the synopsis for you. I know some of you have told me in the comments that you actually don't want the synopsis because you feel like it gives too much away. And I totally respect that, because I never read the book synopsis of books ever, because I feel like they give too much away. But I know I'm like in the minority with that. If you don't want to hear this, just go ahead and skip to this time of the video. And that's just my non-spoiler thoughts of the book. And then there will be a book chat part of the video for those of us who have read later. And I can put those times in the description below for you if you just want to literally time skip to certain parts. But I am going to go ahead and read the synopsis for those who are interested in it. So it says, a spellbinding tale of psychological suspense weaving together Greek mythology, murder, and obsession. Edward Fosca is a murderer. Of this, Mariana is certain. But Fosca is untouchable. A handsome and charismatic Greek tragedy professor at Cambridge University, Fosca is adored by staff and students alike, particularly by the members of a secret society of female students known as the Maidens. Mariana Andros is a brilliant but troubled group therapist who becomes fixated on the Maidens when one member, a friend of Mariana's niece Zoe, or is it Zoe? I don't know. I'm going to just say Zoe, is found murdered in Cambridge. Mariana, who was once herself a student at the university, quickly suspects that behind the beauty of the spires and turrets and beneath the ancient traditions lies something sinister. And she becomes convinced that, despite his alibi, Edward Fosca is guilty of the murder. But why would the professor target one of his students? And why does he keep returning to the rites of Persephone, the maiden, and her journey to the underworld? When another body is found, Mariana's obsession with proving Fosca's guilt spirals out of control, threatening to destroy her credibility as well as her closest relationships. But Mariana is determined to stop this killer, even if it costs her everything, including her own life. This is the first book in my life that I have ever finished in one day. The closest book I've ever come to finishing in one day was Verity by Colleen Hoover. Oh my God, if you haven't read that, that is the best psychological thriller I've ever read in my life. I'll link my review up here for that. It is very dark. If you are a squeamish person, do not even watch that video. But that thriller is amazing. Anyways, I didn't even finish that. Okay, so when I say like I read it in a day, I mean like I woke up in the morning and finished it by night. Whereas I know a lot of people literally think of it as like a 24-hour span. So Verity was a 24-hour span. I picked that up at like 2 p.m. on a Wednesday and finished it the next day at like before 2 p.m. This book, I sat on the couch at like 10 a.m. and was done by like 6 p.m. It's amazing. It is a 5-star read. And if you are not new here, you know that in my videos I've been saying I have been struggling finding 5-star books in 2021, guys. There have not been that many reads that have blown me out of the water, but this book is so good. So as you guys know, typically in my reviews, I like to try to be like, if you liked this book or if you liked this movie, then you would like this book. Guys, I'm struggling with this, but like in a good way. So the ending of this book wowed me, just like the ending of The Silent Patient wowed me, okay? They're both amazing. And I'm trying to think of like other books or movies that have made me feel that way. I felt this way I felt similarly when I watched Shutter Island with my boy, Leonardo DiCaprio. I have watched that movie like 7 times because I love the ending. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't watched it, but if you're looking for a good like psychological thriller movie, watch Shutter Island. I know it's old. It's probably like 10 or 15 years old at this point, but that movie is insanely good. Other books that like where I have closed it and sat there and really thought about the ending, like holy shit, that really just blew my mind, would be Verity, which I know I literally just talked about like a minute ago. Verity by Colleen Hoover. His other book, The Silent Patient, I closed, well actually no, I listened to that one on Audible. I was done with the Audible book and was like, oh my God, that was amazing. So leave in the comments below books or movies that have just left you being like, wow, like as much as I predicted, as much thought as I put into this, there's absolutely no way that I would have seen that ending coming. Please leave that in the comments below because I love books and movies that make me feel that way. Okay, so you'll probably see me looking down to the left because I am looking and referencing, I am looking at my notes. But I always like to say in my videos, what is something that stood out about this book to me? Well, everything. No, I'm not just gonna say that. But this book really had a heavy emphasis on Greek and Greek mythology. And I just have to go on a little side note here and say that I never got any Greek mythology education. And my husband is always like, how did you like not get this education? Like everyone here in the States, everybody does go through like Greek mythology. It's like just part of our literacy course in high school. And I think it's because when I went into high school, because of my test scores, I was placed in like an advanced English class and hated it, okay? I just like the teacher sucked. She was terrible. We were given like, I just remember it being nothing but like vocabulary words. Like we were given like 100 vocabulary words a week. And I was like, this is weird. So then I just went to my counselor and I was like, hey, can I just go to like a different English class? So then I moved English classes to just the regular English class that like wasn't insanely like an insane workload for a 14-year-old. And I believe during that transition is when the other classes were learning Greek mythology. Like I think they started the year learning Greek mythology, whereas I was just learning stupid vocabulary words. Anyways, that's why I think, because I never learned Greek mythology and I was really, really anxious that like there would be parts of this book that didn't make sense to me because of my lack of knowledge when it came to Greek mythology. But that was not the case. The book does a really good example, like when it brings up something that's Greek mythology related, it explains it. I don't think I had to Google anything on my own, to be honest. So basically the book is, we have this main character, Mariana, however you want to say it, and she went to Cambridge when she was younger, and now she has a niece that goes there. And there's like some crazy murders that are going on at the school, and she's convinced that it's like one of the professors at the school. So she goes there and she basically tries to like sleuth it out with her niece. That's as much as I'm gonna say for the non-spoiler. It's really cool though. Like Alex does a really good job of like setting up the setting of Cambridge, and like I just could envision everything like I was watching a movie, which I really hope this becomes a movie because it would be so good. But yeah, I want to keep it really just minimalistic for you. It's a thriller for sure. Would I say it's psychological? Not as much as his first novel, The Silent Patient, was. But it is a thriller, and it's good. Goodreads obviously is going to be a 5 out of 5. Personal rating is going to be a 10 out of 10. I thought this book was perfection. Like I said, first book in my life that I've ever read in one day, meaning I did not get bored. And I tell my friends on Instagram all the time, on my book Instagram, I'm like, I cannot sit still reading a book for more than like 30 to 45 minutes. It's just how I operate. Like I have to get up and do something. I either have to do like dishes in between or like walk the dog, or you know what I mean? Like I can't just sit there and read because I get bored most of the time, or like, you know, fidgety. This book, I was like, I'd read it and then I'd look at the clock and be like, oh my God, 2.5 hours have passed. Like that's how you know it's a good book. And Heather's point of view is when you're just like, wow, time flew by. There are a lot of twists and turns in this book that make you think one thing. You're like, wait, what? Like we just got this clue, and then you're like, bam, just kidding. The clue is, you know, worthless. And then you're like, well, we got another clue. Nope, just kidding. It's not what you thought. And yeah, the ending of this book, oh my God, just guys, you have to read it. Now I am going to go ahead and get into the book chat part of the video for those of us who have read and or listened to this book. If you're going to read this book, I encourage you to come back to this video and listen to the book chat, because that's where I unpack all of my thoughts about the book. And I would love if we could chat in the comments and see if we had similar thoughts. But if you're new here, I would love if you could hit that subscribe button and that post notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new bookish related video. I'm gonna be looking at my notes a lot here because I have so much that I wanted to talk about. There's so much to unpack. First off, as I was reading, I definitely felt that Zoe, I'm just gonna call her Zoe. I feel like Zoe is Z-O-E-Y, but Zoe just like sounds weird to me. I don't know. So I'm just gonna say Zoe. I had a feeling that Zoe was hiding something. She had such a strong distaste for the Maidens, and I was like, okay, there has to be more of why she hates them, why she doesn't like them. Either she auditioned to get in the group and she didn't make it, but Tara did, or she was in the group and then got kicked out. Like something happened here for her to, you know, have such a strong distaste for the group. Then we find out she was part of the Maidens towards the end of the book, and I was like, oh, this is starting to make sense. The entire time, and this is what was so fun for me while reading this book. The entire time I'm sitting here guessing who the killer is by reading the diary pages that we were given, right? Those like little snippets. And I had my heart set on Fred, right? Alex does a good job of just making Fred seem weird, just like a weird individual. And you're like, yeah, this guy is strange and he's kind of obsessive and all this stuff. Never in my mind did I think that it would be Sebastian's journal. Never. To the point where like when Zoe was saying all of that to Mariana at the end, like, and it was Sebastian, all this stuff, I'm like, my first thought was like, she's just saying this. She's just saying this to get Mariana to focus on her. And like, cause I thought my guess was in the end, Zoe and Fred were in cahoots together, especially when Mariana was on the boat with Zoe and they saw Fred like off to the side or whatever. I was like, okay, these guys are totally in cahoots with one another. Well, I thought she was saying all of that stuff about Sebastian because I was like, there's no way that this could be true. And it was, and I was like, are you kidding me? What a weird coincidence that both Edward and Fred admitted to having like abusive fathers. And I'm also pretty sure both of them admitted to growing up on farms. Am I wrong? I know for sure Edward did, right? But like, what are the odds that they both had abusive fathers and both grew up on farms? I don't know, that was strange, but I did like that the author included that, because that's what I was talking about in the non-spoiler, where I was like, and you're given a clue, and then you're like, oh my God, this is the person in the diary entries. Like, this has to be it. And then you're like, wait, what? I also suspected that Henry, while crazy, wasn't tied to what was going on at the college. He was literally just nuts. This is the guy from her support group. If you're like, who's Henry? Did any of you think that it was truly Henry? Did any of you think that Henry was like stalking Mariana and like came to the college and like, remember all those times he would call her and be like, I can see you? Like, did any of you guys think that he was actually there and he was the one that was orchestrating all of this? Because I do remember in the beginning of the book, Mariana admits that Henry is like extremely intelligent. So I was like, maybe he's the mastermind behind this, but I just had a feeling that he wasn't. But I'm curious what you guys thought. Those are all of my thoughts on The Maidens, you guys. I loved this book. It was fast-paced. It was well written. It was gripping. The ending was amazing. I'm just so grateful for Alex Michaelides' talent, and grateful for him as an author, because like I needed this book. 2021 needed this book. I needed this book in my life, because I have not been amazed with really any of the books that I've been reading in 2021. So I just flew through this. If you're new here, I recently have given birth. I'm 14 days postpartum. My husband and I welcomed a beautiful baby boy, who you can see on Instagram if you want to follow me at Heather's Book Review. But I was like, I need to read this book. I finished this book, like, I swear to God, 4 days before I gave birth. Because I was like, I knew when our beautiful baby was here, I was not going to have time to pick up a book for the longest time, for many reasons. Now that I'm experiencing it, the first reason is the sleep deprivation, right? But yeah, anyways, I flew through this and I loved it. So leave in the comments below what you thought about the book, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.